Hello, this is Ryan Riccitelli with asnews.net, and today I have Real Kiteboarding founder, one of the founders, Matt Nuzzo. He's out of Cape Hatteras, and why don't you introduce yourself, Matt?
How's it going, everyone? This is Matt Nuzzo speaking here, podcasting live from sunny Cape Hatteras, southwest, windy. Who says it doesn't blow in Cape Hatteras?
Well, you know, you guys have been busy. You guys have been down in the British Virgin Islands. You guys just took a trip that would make most of us all drool with envy. So why don't you talk a little bit about the trip that you just went on?
Yeah, it was a pretty sick trip. We teamed up with the moorings. We got 3 sailboats toward the BVIs, which was just an amazing trip in its own right. Had made some sailors out of non-sailors, and we had wind every single day we're down there. The goal of our trip was to do our annual photo shoot, but more importantly was to film joyride and surf. They're going to be the next in our series of instructional DVDs. So far we've produced Solution is launching this March, which is kind of intermediate, getting people up and riding. Joyride's moving into getting into tricks, doing more advanced stuff, and then surf obviously is strictly wave riding. So we had unreal conditions. We got those 2 videos shot. We got a bunch of great pictures too. So we were really stoked with the trip.
So who was on the trip?
Oh man, we had a pretty all-star cast. We had starting. I got lucky. I got put in a pro boat, so I was hanging out with all the juniors, which was killer. Well, they're not really juniors. It started out with Jason Slezak, with Sam Bell, Amy Raby, myself. We're in one boat. Then we had Trip Foreman, Brittany Wright, Tommy Kogut. We also had then we had the media boat, which consisted of our captain Debbie, who was great. She showed us the way around the islands, which was unbelievable. Had John and Alexis Bilderback for the photo video crew, and then Brian Casario from Side Off Video was shooting, directing, and getting all the voiceovers tight.
So you guys basically went down there for a couple weeks, and what were some of the spots that you rode? Because I know a lot of people, they're always looking at the BVIs, trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah, man, it was pretty unreal. I mean, we started out in Tortola. That's where the moorings is based out of, and then we just we went through the British part of the Virgin Islands, which was killer. We went to I don't even know all the names of the spots. There's so many little islands there, but had a great time at Bitter End Yacht Club, which was a real cool place to stop. And then just toured a few of the islands like right around there, which provided some really good wind, really good waves. It was pretty cool. Got to check out Branson's Island over there, Necker Island, which is a pretty unique spot, and it was just super fun, man. We had great conditions, and the BVIs are just unbelievable. The watercolor coming from the north in the wintertime and going down there, the watercolor will ease any winter blues that you have. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and so now you guys are back up in Hatteras. You're gearing up for the season, and why don't you just talk a little bit about what's on the plate this year for Real Kiteboarding?
Yeah, we've got a great looking season coming up. We've got our camps are really starting to stack up. We have obviously our instructional camps, beginner through advanced, starting with 0 to hero, going all the way to triple S. All those spots are getting filled. We start up in the end of March, so we're just getting all of our coaches are starting to come back to Hatteras and getting everything geared up. And we look really good. The guys have been tuning up the slider park and getting that ready for another good season. And we're really fired up. This year seems like a really busy year for kiteboarding so far. Just had a lot of people are really stoked. A lot of new people getting into the sport. Been hearing from a lot of our clients. Been traveling all over the place and riding, and just seems like the excitement level for kiteboarding this year is really going off the hook.
Well, and a lot of people don't really know your history. Why don't you talk a little bit about your history, because you're one of the pioneers of that area. And
yeah, man, it's kiteboarding. I mean, it's still a pretty new sport, but my business partner now, Trip Foreman, was the one that kind of showed me the light. It was I used to live up in Rhode Island and was windsurfing there, teaching windsurfing. That's how I met Trip, and then he one day showed me. He's like, oh, you got to check this out. Check out check out this kiteboard. And I was like, all right, man, let's go ride. And he'd go downwind. What's the point of that? I was like, you can't stay upwind. He's like, yeah, you can, but it kind of takes some time. And I was like, I don't know, man, that kiteboarding's for the birds. But I ended up I obviously had a change of heart. I actually don't even go upwind anymore. I think I'm stuck to doing downwinders pretty much. But started kiting up there. He ended up convincing me into it. I was just like, I was bored in the winter in Rhode Island, learn how to fly the kite, learn how to get out there. I started teaching up in Rhode Island, then moved to Puerto Rico in 2000 and started teaching down there, and then came to Hatteras and started working more in depth with Trip, and we started Real Kiteboarding in 2001 in Hatteras, just because it is the best place in the world to learn to kiteboard and to ride year round. We have our lesson center is open from March through November, so we have a great long season. We get well over 20 days of riding a month, so it's just real consistent. You get different weather conditions down here per different seasons, but it's for kiteboarding, 15 plus, you're styling. We get that a lot of times. So I mean, it's definitely a fun spot we have here, and we started Real in 2001 and just really focusing on creating kiteboarders, and that was the goal of our company, was to make new riders every day, and that's what we still do today in 2006.
Well, and I remember, actually, it was when I first became a magazine editor. I was on the telephone with you guys, and you were pounding the first nails into the Reel Shack.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, it's been a lot of work. It's definitely been pretty fun. We've got our site up there in Waves, which we're just starting to build out. We're going to be this year's going to be a pretty big year, because we're going to be putting in some a big store and at a waterfront site, and getting some accommodations on site too. So we're really going to pimp it out and build out a real full service kite center here in Hatteras.
Well, and a lot of people too are, they look at the rails that you guys are doing up there, and you guys are one of the only places in the really the world that offers, students or kiteboarders the ability to take a lesson to learn how to ride that stuff, if that's what you want to do. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I mean, we have the slider park's great. A lot of the obstacles are way over my head and really suited for like Zach and Sammy and Dre and Martine, all the pros that come out here and hit it. But they still have stuff for mere mortals. They with our requests have made some small low rails, which are really cool because you can practice on them when it's glassy out, pulling behind the jet ski, and then as you get better, you can kind of start to learn to hit the kickers, the sliders, all those type of things. And we do have individual lessons, as well as the Triple S camp, which is focusing on surf, slider, and slicks, and it's definitely becoming a more popular riding style. And we have the ultimate location, because we have our a small marina on our site. We can keep all our sliders in there. When it blows, we just bring them out, set them all up, and right in the slick, and it's awesome, man. And people can rent out the park by the day. You can come and take lessons. You can come and take a camp to learn how to ride it, and it's definitely a unique setup.
Well, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, because these are I always ask the questions that people would expect me to ask, but I want to ask you something a little bit more personal. When are you riding, man? You have the choice to ride any equipment.
Yeah, it's that's a good question. This year has been pretty cool, and working at Real Kiteboarding is a real unique. We're in a unique position because we do get to ride kite out there. Whether we carry it or not, we want to ride everything, so we know how to teach on it. We know what works. We know what sucks. And this year overall, I've been totally impressed with the new gear. The back of my truck is pretty stacked out right now, because I still am kind of testing out a lot of gear. I've been really, overall, to be truthfully honest, the kite that I go to is a go-to kite every day. Is a Slingshot Fuel. The thing's durable as hell. It's got one pump. The bar works. It's just stock out of the bag. It works for when I'm teaching, when I'm going out and I want to boost, I want to ride waves. That's kind of the best all-around kite that I've used. There's a lot of really cool novelty kites out there right now, too, and I call them novelty kites because I don't want to ride them every day, but in the right conditions, they rock. One of those kites has been the RD wave kite. It's called the Type Wave 2, and that kite's really sweet for wave riding, just super stable, dumps power like a bow kite, but it still has the feel of a traditional sea kite. When we were in the BVIs, I rode a bunch of bow kites because we were riding a side offshore wave a bunch, which was sweet for those conditions too, because as you get kiting is the simplicity of it. You know, you can tech out as much as you want, but you can also kind of be, be simple. I windsurfed for years, and that was just way too much gear and tech for anyone to deal with, and so right now I've just been riding the slingshot fuels, so just the bomber that work, and every year they get a little bit better, but it still feels like it doesn't feel like feels like an old friend. It feels like something that you've ridden before.
Well, and with the question I'm asked all the time, what do I buy? Do I buy the flat kite? Do I buy the traditional C-shaped kite? And I'm sure you get asked that. What would be your response?
Every day, man, every day. Target finding what people's needs are, and target what your specific needs are for your riding area, for your weight, for your ability level. The bow kites, I think, are going to be really popular for a large amount of people. Personally, I like the bow kites in 12 meter or smaller. Above that, one of the problems with bow kites that I'm sure you've heard about is that they have more bar pressure. Particularly on the bigger bow kites, I find that they just have too much bar pressure for what I like. If you're kind of just strictly into cruising and going in a straight line, the bigger sizes will work really well for you. A real popular setup, I've been getting people like 16, 17 meter traditional C-style kites. It's got some good power, got some low end, 12 meter bow kite, and then like 8 meter. That's like 8 meter bow kite, and that's been a really popular setup. People are a little afraid to kind of mix and match, but that's what I personally think works best for a lot of people. And again, I've had an equal amount of customers that are really into the 2006 C-style kite. They've got there's a lot of really good high-performance kites that are coming out now, and as well, like just your meat and potatoes kite, like the Fuel is working really, really well, and works for a great amount of conditions. Personally, I think the best safety on the market is still the fifth line safety, just how the kite falls out of the sky. You can literally, I finished a session the other day, I was lit on my 13, come in, basically the kite's at the top of the window, I unhook, let go, fall straight to the ground with absolutely no power. I walk up the line, grab the kite, and secure it down. There's really no safety on the market that will match the fifth line safety as far as I'm concerned. The bow kite safeties work well, but it's still, I've seen a few flaws in them. Four-line safeties still work well, and I believe that a straight beginner starting on a four-line C-style kite is going to be probably the easiest until you can understand the line management. Once you're good with the lines, put the fifth line on there and let her go. But there's a lot of different stuff. Just the main thing is don't get confused. Get a product. Go kiteboard. That's really the key thing. You're going to have a gut instinct if you want to ride a bow kite. If you want to ride a C-style kite, just go with your gut instinct. Go with the recommendation of a good shop, of people that understand your riding ability and your riding. Get your gear and ride it. That's what's going to make you a better kiteboarder, is going out and riding.
Well, and I appreciate your feedback, because you do deal with a volume of people that are obviously asking these questions, so I appreciate your feedback. Also, I want to ask you, what about boards? What do you have to say about like a beginner getting a new board?
Yeah, it's actually the most overlooked part of kiteboarding. Is I see so many people that will they'll say like, oh yeah, I want to spend a lot of money on a kite, but just give me any board. I don't really care. I don't really I don't want to spend any money on a board. It consists of two words: kite and boarding. It's two sports. You're riding a board and you're flying a kite. So you can't overlook the board. Most people say, average weight guy, like 170 pounds. In most riding areas, for a beginner, we teach them actually on like a real big, 170, 140 to 160 size board. The bigger the better, right, when on your first few days. But you're normally going to grow out of that right off the bat. I normally, for a first board, I recommend in the 140 to 145 range, a little wider board. The reason that is it's going to work really well, going to be easy for you to ride. It might be a little bit above your ability level right when you're starting, but as well, you're not going to outgrow it. As you get better, that board will then become your light wind board, and then you're going to end up getting 130 to 135, somewhere in there. So start out with a board that's a little bit above your ability level, so you can grow into it. But you also want to get a board that you can use for the long term and ride in light winds. So I mean, like the two most popular boards that we sell are the Jimmy Lewis 145 Model 3 and the Lightwave Designs Freestyle 145. And those boards work great. They're super well rounded and just really, really well rounded boards.
Well, Matt, hey, thanks for your time. I know you're busy, and, we always let everyone drop some bombs on asnews.net, so why don't you throw some shouts out to your friends and peeps?
There we go. Got to give it to the crew at Real Kiteboarding, specifically Trip Foreman for my partner for setting up that insane trip. I mean, it was the BVI trip we did this year was absolutely our best photo shoot we've ever done. Everyone that took part in it, from our crew at home that was servicing our customers and keeping the ship afloat to the photographers, to the captain, to our cook, everyone that was on board on the photo shoot. That was it was an all-time trip, and you'll definitely be seeing a lot of footage out there. For those getting into the sport, check out our instructional DVD series. Evolution, like I said, is hitting this March, and any other info, go to realkiteboarding.com.
All right, Matt. Well, we'll be checking in with your crew soon, and thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, Riccitelli. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Hello, this is Ryan Riccitelli with asnews.net, and today I have Julian Fillian. He's the designer for Liquid Force, and I called him up in Quebec, Canada. And Julian, are you there?
Yeah, hello, how are you?
So, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and about your background?
Okay, well, hello everybody. My name is Julian. I'm working for Liquid Force at Kiteboarding, creating most of the equipment that we have this year in our line. Right now I'm living in Quebec, Canada. Main reason for that is because it's really windy. And in winter we have wind almost every day, so it's really easy to R&D gear. It's pretty cold, but when you're used to it, it's not too bad. And I'm traveling often to U.S. to go to the Liquid Force office in California and work also with my mate over there on the next gear. We'll bring you next year.
So, do you do a lot of snow kiting up there?
Yeah, right now it's mainly snow kiting. Most of the lakes are frozen, and we also have mountains with no tree where we can ride a little bit. And it's raining sometimes, and it's all icy, but it's mostly snowing. And snow kiting is pretty huge over here. There's lots of people doing it, and it's really good.
So where did you or how did you get involved with designing kites, and how did you get involved with Liquid Force?
Well, a little while ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I moved to Maui to live there for windsurfing. So yeah, I used to be a windsurfer. And I've got hired by Nail Pride International, and I've started working on R&D for windsurfing, creating windsurfing gear, and I was really happy about it, but I wanted more. And I was seeing all these guys, making some huge jump in Maui and all that. All the crew over there, like Lou Wyman was there and all these guys. And then I decided to come back to Quebec, Canada, go back to school. And I was working for Nail Pride remotely from here. And because I've ridden in the Maui waves windsurfing, it was really boring here in the lakes, so I switched to kiteboarding. And after a while, I was not really happy working in windsurfing anymore because I was finding it a little bit boring. So I switched to kiteboarding, and Liquid Force came and put me on, and I've been with Liquid Force since almost a year now, and I'm really, really happy about it.
So what kites have you designed, and what gear have you designed for Liquid?
For Liquid Force this year, I've been working on the M80 a lot. I did also the Menace and the Assault. Been working really, really hard on the Assault. I've been trying to make a kite that was not only, a carbon copy of what was already out there, but I really wanted to try to do something else. It's not really a flat kite. It's, there's a real arc on it, and it's working with bridle, obviously, but the feeling of it is closer of a sea kite than a bull kite, but with all the advantage of the bull kite, And the Menace also, which is our medium I-aspect kite. I believe it's one of the nicest sea kite I rode because, it's so quick and it's so powerful. And, of course, the M80, everyone knows about the M80. It's a proven, it's a really nice kite for wake riding and wave riding, and everyone loves it.
Well, and let's get back to that whole sea kite versus bow kite or flat kite. And you're a designer. You obviously design both types. And what's your perspective on the two different styles of kites and who they're geared for?
Well, there's obviously a big rage right now about bridle kite, and I like to call it bridle kite instead of bow kite because they're not all bow kite. Obviously, to my perspective, the sea kites are still the one with the most, which you get really quick response from a sea kite, and it's boosting really high. But obviously, there's lots of advantage to the new bridle kite, like the relaunch and the range that you have of your kite. But I believe that most of the brand this year went with really, really flat kite, and I believe we went a little bit too flat this year. Like, I think everyone this year went way too flat with their bridle kite, and it's making kites that are actually a little bit too powerful. It's nice to have a powerful kite, but what you actually want, you want the perfect range. You don't want to be always overpower and have to ride, always with lots of the power on your kite. You want to ride it, like, it's really like what we're looking for and what we will look for next year. It's a mix in between what everyone did this year, really flat, and bring it more to the sea kite with more arc in the bridle kite to make it a little bit less powerful, but have more range than a normal sea kite. And of course, the relaunch ability of it is crazy. It's so easy to relaunch a bridle kite that everyone can relaunch it. Even my mom is able to relaunch it.
Well, that's always good, because that's one of the biggest issues with kites, and that's been good with the fifth lines too. But you get to work with a lot of really good guys. Your team riders are solid, and I'm sure they help you with the feedback and stuff. And why don't you talk a little bit about the Liquid Force team?
Well, I'm really happy you asked me that, because I've been realizing lately how lucky I am to work with the Liquid Force team. I'm working every day with team manager and the marketing and R&D employee. His name is Corky Cullen. I'm sure lots of people know about him, and he's been much more involved with R&D, and it's helping me a lot because we all have ideas, and we need to speak about it every day, and we need to try it. And he's where it's hot and when there's wave and everything, and I'm where it's cold. So it's really important to be able to bring the idea in the water as well, because I'm R&Ding on snow mostly right now. So I'm working a lot with Corky Cullen like that. And also, of course, all the team riders, they bring us ideas every week. They emailing me like with new ideas all the time, and it's really hard to bring all these ideas, in 1 year on new equipment, but we're trying to use the ideas that come up to me the most and to make it real. Like next year we will have lots of new feature on our gear that no one has, and lots of these ideas have been I've been hearing from all the team riders. And, of course, everything, we receive lots of help and support from the wake division of Liquid Force, which is a really large division, and there's engineers in there that are helping also us. So, we like to work in team, and I think it's the only way to make really nice equipment. It's to bring everyone ideas instead of only one person ideas.
Yeah, and I know that Liquid Force has a huge product line when it comes to the wake division, and obviously now we talk about kites. And how involved are you with the boards and the board designs?
Well, what we do with the boards, all the boards are imagined and created by Jimmy Redmond. He's incredible. He shapes manually by hand every board, and of course we receive feedback from all the team riders and all that, and they email Jimmy, and he's creating all the magic with our board, because we have the ability to have boards that are made with wakeboarding molds that we are reusing for our boards in our division. So our boards are super solid and really light, and mainly Liquid Force is a board company, and our boards are insane. That's all I can say about our boards. And everyone loves our boards, and they are really solid and they last long. And we have a really large line. Like, we have, I think, at least 12 boards this year in our lines, which is huge.
Well, and I know that Jason Slezak, he now has a signature model board.
Yeah, well, we have one new model this year for Slezak. It's called a Mission, and it comes in 2 sizes. And for everyone who knows about the Element, which is the Moy Gold Pro models, it comes now in 3 sizes. We now have the 140, which is completely insane. So the Slezak board and the Element this year will be 2 huge seller for us. We will obviously have lots of demand for these boards.
Well, and so you have the M80, and who's the M80 kite designed for? What kind of rider?
The M80s, well, we have lots of school asking us for the M80s because it's really light and it's really stable, and it's holding really well in the air. So lots of school have been asking us for it. But also, all our wake riders like it because it's boosting low, and the low end on it is really good. And it's a all-around kite, and it's low aspect. So but again, you are able to keep it after that, and ripping it for a long time, even if you become really good really quick.
What sizes does that kite come in?
It comes from 5 meters to 20 meters right now. I think the breakdown is 5, 7, 9, 12, 16, and 20, which is covering, every wind range.
And then the next kite you have is the Menace?
Yeah, the next one is the Menace. It's actually, we made the Menace using what everyone was liking about the M80, but we made it a little bit quicker. The actual structure is smaller, the leading edge is smaller, and all the struts are smaller, so it's lighter, and the aspect ratio have been increased. So it's boosting eye. It's for people who like to glide and who like to jump really high. But again, our wake riders like it also as well because it has that strong pull that, you have, even if the wind is on and off, you always have that strong pull, which is not on your hand but on your chest when you are hooked in. So it's really interesting feeling with it to have an eye aspect ratio with a strong pull like that. And it's that's mainly why people love it that much.
Well, and then that leads into the Assault, correct?
Yeah, the Assault is our little baby this year. We've been working so hard on it. Also, I mean, what we were trying to do with the Assault, like I was explaining before, is that, from the moment when we realized it was really important to make a bridal kite, we wanted to make it making the Assault reflecting what we were doing with the MVD and the Miss, but applying it with bridles and everything. So, I mean, the profile of the Assault is really close from what we have on the Miss, but again, it's much flatter, and it has a really good range because of the power you have on it, and it's really powerful. Like a 12-meter Assault equaling to a 15-meter or even a 16-meter normal sea kite. So it's really powerful, but again, it's not really a flat kite. So you're never really overpowered with your kite. It's really powerful, but you won't be overpowered really quick like you can be with the other flat kite.
And what's the sizes of the Assault?
Well, mainly at the beginning we made it in 9, 12, and 16 meter, and we thought it was covering, every wind range, but we realized that it was really powerful. So we came up with a smaller one with a 6 meter, and after that, people were asking us for really large ones. So we made a 19 meter. We've been working really hard to making a really good 19 meter, and it's come up really good. Like, I think it's the nicest light-wing kite, obviously that we ever made. But on the market right now, there's not that many large bridal kites, and we have a 19 meter, and it's really good. I rode it in 8 knots in really warm wind, and it was flying super well, and I was able to jump and do everything, so it's really good. And of course, a really small one, this 6 meter, is responding so quick, and it's so good for high wind wave riding. It's completely insane.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and where can we learn more about Liquid Force product?
Well, of course, you guys can go on liquidforce.com website, and we have lots of retailers in U.S. and all around the world. And I would like to say thanks to you, Ryan, to call me, and I would like to say hi to everyone who's already riding Liquid Force gear, and hopefully we get more new riders this year, because we've been working so hard on the product that we really believe it's a really good product we got this year.
Well, cool, man. And you want to give any shouts out to your friends?
I would like to say hi to all the crew in Avon, North Carolina, and everyone in San Diego, everyone at the office from Liquid Force, and the people also in Quebec that are riding all year long in winter and summer, and that are trying to make kiteboarding much larger in Canada. It has to increase also in Canada.
Well, great, Julian, and thanks for your time, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ryan.
All right, man.
See you, bye-bye.
Later.